welcome back. We're looking at the 2025 SMC for the next few videos. I've split into 5 just because it's slightly easier to do it in different chunks, and as you may know from the exam, it gets harder as we go through. Let's just get started. 5 questions today. Pause the video, have a go at those 5. I'll go through each one, try and explain what they are, try and explain why. As we go through, undoubtedly there'll be different ways of doing each question, but I think these first 5, 10 are pretty straightforward in terms of the main method you're supposed to use at least. But anyway, pause the video, have a go, back in a minute. All right, so let's go through these questions one by one. So we'll do 2 questions in a go here because these first 2 are, and again, when I say straightforward, I don't mean easy. I don't want to be unfair, but I just mean a bit of a one technique, one thing to think about. So case in point, first question. I'm trying to build a cube out of 100 small cubes. So therefore the cubes themselves must be a cube number, as in the number of cubes I use. So I'm going to start by listing all the cube numbers. Then it tells me I only have 100, so I'm not going to use 125, so it's a number less than that. The biggest cube I can build is the biggest cube number, which is 64. 100 minus 64 leaves me with 36, and 36 is indeed up there, so therefore my first answer is going to be C. Not awful. Second question. I have to say, this is a difficult question to describe, so I thought I'd think about this one a little bit. It's one of these where you kind of know what the answer should be, it's just sort of demonstrating it nice and clearly. So here's my best attempt at demonstrating this question. So we've got 2 shapes, and you can see there's some sort of symmetry about those 2 shapes. So actually, the way I've described it is this. Imagine the top red shaded one. Well, if you can flip that round in your head and put it on top of the blue one, you will get this shape here. And again, pause the video, convince yourself that is true, and it is true, and you can do a lot of maths and trigonometry, etc. to prove it's true, but it does work. Either way, I'm now covering 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles. I've got 9 triangles in total. What does it want? It wants a fraction that's shaded, so therefore that's going to be 4 over 9. It's up there, it's E for an answer, so answer E. Next 2 questions. Okay, there's a few techniques that appear a lot in these questions, and one of them is difference of 2 squares, and you have to have it in your head that this may appear somewhere. In fact, it's quite likely. The other thing that's also almost always going to appear is some reference to the year itself. So here we've got 2025, and that's coming up again later with a different question. So first thing I think about here is I've got squares, and I've got some differences, so it's difference of 2 squares. The second thing isn't quite as nice because that doesn't look like a difference of 2 squares, but I can force it to be. And what I mean by that is, let's write down the first 2 terms, and let's flip the second 2 and put the minus on the outside, which gives me this thing here. And now I do have difference of 2 squares. And without going any further, I know I've got the difference. I'm taking away 2 numbers that are 1 apart, so that's going to make me feel quite good about doing this for a non-calculator paper. So do my maths. You can see I've got 25 minus 24 and 22 minus 23, so that's going to be 1 and minus 1. Numbers in between are 49 and 45. I can do that. 49 minus 45 is 4. 4 is up there. Answer E. Excellent. Next question. Okay, I like this one. This is a sort of clever, how am I going to do this question? It's impossible, there's too many unknowns, but actually it falls out pretty neatly, doesn't it? So it says I write down 3 2-digit numbers. The 2 digits obviously very relevant here, and I get 46. So let's lay my question out. It tells me one's prime, one's square, one's even. Great. And then it says what's the even number? So I want this number over here. Well, of course, what I also know is if 46 is even, or 46 is even, and this number is even because it tells me in the question, these 2 numbers must both be odd. And I know that because the only odd prime number, or the only number that is prime that is not odd, is 2. These are double-digit numbers, so therefore these must be odd. So in other words, just to state that clearly, these 2 numbers must be odd. So now I can think about my square numbers, because I have lots of prime numbers it could be, but my square numbers are going to be 16, 25, or 36. And of course 16 and 36 are not odd, so therefore it must be 25, which means that I can do 46 minus 25, which is going to give me 21. And crucially, there are only 2 2-digit numbers that add to give me 21, one of which is even, one of which is prime. Therefore I know what my numbers are. I know my even number is 10. Is 10 up there? Yes, it is. It's answer A. So therefore it's going to be answer A for question 4. Final question of this bit. Okay, so I'm going to do this the GCSE way. Hopefully it won't be completely alien to most of you watching this video, which is I'm going to think about scale factors. So it tells me in the question that the ratio of the radii is 1 to 2 to 3, which means the ratio of the areas is going to be the square of that. So using the length area volume method we do at GCSE. You can put pies in, work out the areas, divide the pies out, they just disappear. It's just going round a bit of a house that you don't need to do. But obviously, if you've never seen the squaring method before, obviously, have a think about what that works, or let me know in the comments and I'll try and explain it a bit better. But either way, if the length scale factor is 1 to 2 to 3, the area scale factor is the square of that, which is 1 to 4 to 9. Which means I know the shaded area is going to be it's the medium minus the small, which is 4 minus 1, which is 3. I know the big area is 9. What does it want? It wants a ratio of the shaded area of the largest circle to the shaded area. So it's going to be 3 to 9, which is 1 to 3, which is answer A. And that's today's video done. Not too bad today at all. But as I say, these are the first 5 questions. This paper gets harder. And actually, I think I'm right in saying in the next video, I think is one of the hardest questions in the video, but in the set of videos on this paper. But we'll come to that. But either way, as ever, any comments below, do like, subscribe, and I'll see you for the next video. Thanks all.